call this to order, official, what is it,
148.
1:48?
Oh God, you're late.
Very late.
We have,
Glasses.
Diane is gonna join us by phone,
Keep fingers crossed.
so that gives us 5 out of 7 officers. That should give us a quorum, correct?
Yep.
Mary Jo will be acting secretary for our meeting today. While we're waiting for Missy to show up at the table, we'll jump into chapter business and get that knocked out. It shouldn't take that much. So everybody should have copies of the minutes. Mike is here.
Yeah, I messaged you.
Okay. That gives us 6 out of 7. So we definitely have a quorum of officers. Everybody should have a copy of the March meeting minutes.
Anybody else need a copy? We good?
I would like a copy.
Anybody have any
Oh, yeah.
changes or corrections that need to be
I
done?
didn't print them off.
Oh, that's all right.
I wasn't here, so
Okay, so no changes, no corrections are needed. Can I get a motion to accept the minutes?
I'll make a motion to accept the minutes.
Second.
Brett made the motion. Lisa seconded.
Yep.
All in favor of accepting the minutes?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? None?
How's
Okay,
that
that
for
takes
that?
care of that. Treasurer's report and approved bills. We've got the
Oh,
treasurer's
bills.
report on the back of the minutes.
Yeah. Since we don't even have an account, we have no bills, so. But I do, if you don't have a copy, I got extra copies here. We got our check back from the state rebate, $262.50, and we still have it. So, that's my report as far as the money. But, I did talk to the bank. I sent Drew an email, hopefully he saw that one. The bank says we need a copy of the bylaws, which they now have. We need a copy of the minutes of the meeting that we passed the bylaws, so I need a copy of that.
February.
February 23rd was when we did the amended.
Okay.
Right,
Yep.
so if we just get a copy of the minutes,
I'll pull them
and
out.
maybe you might wanna sign off, or the secretary sign
You
it.
might want to just send them January's as well, because that was the original
Yeah.
bylaw.
Yeah,
That's
you could
right,
do
yeah.
both, you could do both.
Yeah.
And we might, so, anyway, that, they need that minutes showing that those are official bylaws, okay?
What was the rebate for?
We could have.
Our
the-
state dues. We pay the state dues and half
Half comes back.
comes back.
So we get $12.50
That's curious.
every member out of the $25.
I wouldn't
Or
question
our
it,
check,
it's
yeah.
good for us.
That's right.
So,
Then you need to get us what, a tax
then,
number?
we have one last thing that we need to provide for an official account, and that would be the identification number from the IRS. But we can't get that until we officially pass our application to form a nonprofit, and it gives us a number for the state, and then after we have that, we can apply for the IRS, which is $50 fee, and that will establish us as a nonprofit. Once we're there, we have our number, we can turn it in, we can have an account. Now, the other thing that,
Okay, so when we sign this and turn this in, you need $50?
when you that's gonna cost approximately $80.
$80 for,
That gives you, essentially, that's an expedited, there's an expedited figure in that, so. I just did it for mine, and that way when you turn it in, you get it back right away instead of having to wait a month.
okay. So $80 for the incorporation.
Right.
And then $50 with the IRS?
And 50 for the IRS, that's about $130 out of our 262. What I was going to try and do is be able to, if I can't cash the check at the bank, because I already have my Citizens for Larry's Fate there. So I asked him, can I cash the check? He had to talk to his supervisor, so, once I find that out. So if I do that, I'll use the 130 from here. If not, I'll just pay the 130 to get it through. And once we get the thing, I'll turn in a receipt.
And then we'll reimburse you.
Yeah, either way, we get it done.
All right, so I guess what we
Am I
need,
getting what do they call it? You can't open a bank account until you can cash the check, and you can't cash a check until you've got a bank account.
It's
That's the one, right there. Welcome to government 101.
That's it,
Welcome to
22.
the nonprofit world of finance.
Right. I'll tell you what, hey, why don't I just give you whatever it takes to open up the bank account, and then you can open up the bank account, you can put in your check, you can write out your bills, and next month or sometime you can pay me back.
well,
I don't
We
care.
can't.
It's not money.
No, it's not the money that's stopping us from opening the account. It's the fact that you have to have the federal identification number from the IRS.
and they won't do that till
And we can't get that till we apply for it. We can't apply for it till we get the state and form the chapter.
Oh.
See?
Well, I figured it wouldn't be that simple, but I just thought I'd try.
I appreciate the
You
offer.
know, if I can help.
Yeah. Okay.
No. But you can open an account in my name if you like.
So, back in January, I know
But any
we
amount in you want.
put it to a vote to have Larry, we approved Larry to go ahead and start figuring out how to do this. Now that he's figured out how to do this, I think we need to have a vote to approve paying for this process. So the $50 to the IRS and $80 to incorporate us, I believe we should
Yeah.
put that to a vote to approve doing it.
Yeah.
So I need somebody to make a motion on
I
that.
motion that we put to a vote Larry's okey dokey to open the bank account, submit all necessary paperwork, pay the bills, and get our tax ID number.
And
I'll second.
file
Anything
the
else?
Secretary of
And file with the whatever else we need
I
to
thought we
do.
already had done that.
but hey, you gotta approve the amount. That would be the.
$50 and $80
We
as
approved him to
needed.
get the paperwork started, which I have right here. So now it's gonna take my signature, Brett's signature, and Kathy's signature.
Right.
And we will get Kathy to sign this on Monday, if I can get Lisa.
I'm gonna second her motion to approve the expense, and then, you wanna take a vote on that.
That's gonna be a roll call vote.
Yeah, that's gonna be a roll call.
All right, so,
Whenever you're ready, Mary.
Oh. Oh, just
Roll
start to
call.
your
Roll
right.
call vote.
Start here.
All right, so
Yes, I
Eric,
approve.
Larry? Yes.
Brett,
Matt,
Yes.
yes.
Drew, yes.
Mike, yes.
Joe?
Yes.
Robert?
Yes.
And yes from Lisa.
How about you and the peanut
Oh,
gallery?
yeah, Diane, I forgot you were there.
Nobody asked me, but I'm cool with that too.
I think that's a yes.
Oh, man. Sorry.
That's all right, that's right.
I'll throw my yes in there too.
Yeah.
Okay, so after the meeting, Brett and I will sign the paperwork, we'll give it to Lisa, and Lisa can take it over to Kathy on Monday after work and get her to sign it, and we'll get it back to you
Okay, good.
late Monday night, Tuesday.
I'll get working on it right after that.
Awesome.
Anything else from,
Yeah, I have, well, since
oh yeah, you also were
I was
working on
fine.
the insurance.
I did work on the insurance, and we did have a quote come back, and it's probably right in where we thought it was gonna come in. So we have policy premium for between the two. The general liability from Covington Specialty, base of $500 per year. You add fee and taxes, so it comes to $668. All right. And then
What was that from? What?
That was-
insurance?
Covington?
Covington Specialty for general liability.
Okay.
And then for D&O, it would come up to $898. So that would be a total of $1,566. Okay, that's from agency through, it's Leonardi Agency. They're not the insurer, they're an agency, and they put it out for bid for me. And so
So
that's
That's
what it would cost. And so there's our estimate. And I think that's right about, from all the discussion we had, right where we thought it might be. So,
Did you ever follow up with Andy?
with who?
Andy from Marine Corps League?
No.
His company does the insurance for non.
So we can continue to look.
Oh, yeah, we can't afford it until we do some
Well, right,
fundraising
yeah, we
anyway,
can't.
so.
We have no money, so yeah. So there's no acting on it. But
At least we're getting an idea.
we have a concrete
idea
of where we're gonna be. He was thinking, I don't think Leonardi does a lot of this, but he deals with all sorts of stuff, but I don't think the guy, Craig, deals a lot with it. So he was thinking 2,000, but he thought that 1,566 was reasonable. So
It
We'll
seems-
find
it
out.
still seems high to me compared to what our road association has been paying.
yeah,
Well, here's the other thing too, is check with Andy. We
Okay.
just had a
Yeah.
membership meeting for the Marine Corps League. And we had to vote on approving our liability and D&O insurance. Now, they have a lot of shooting events. So that
Right.
means their liability is a little bit
Yeah.
higher than
they
ours
tend
is
to
gonna be.
stray.
Well, we hope not, but.
You know, plus they have like, you know, the honor guards and stuff like that that do.
Oh, right.
The 21 gun salutes and all of that, so they have the weapons and stuff like that, so their liability is gonna be a lot more than us. But for 1 year of liability and D&O for the Marine Corps League was $2,400. So double
Yeah.
check, reach out to Andy and see what it is. Like I said, he does nothing but nonprofits.
Well, one of the things I understood after he gave the bid, there's like a minimum, premium.
Okay.
So is that 15, right around 1,500? I don't know.
Well,
I would imagine we have to come in as close to that minimum as you could possibly come, because we have nothing that I can see that would give us liability of people suing us and doing stuff where people get harmed.
I think
Other
we've
than
seen
maybe
it.
spilling a cup of hot coffee on someone, you know.
They're marked hot.
Yeah, right. Ever since McDonald's.
There you go.
Well, our road association, which has physical liability, was under $800, including D&O.
Yeah, well, this is 668. But, oh, you got D&O too?
Yeah,
Okay, so,
and that was through State Farm.
yeah.
Now, remember, I had 3 of them say they won't touch us because we're political. And they, weren't you the one that sent me the
No.
name of, no, it was the other Bob, sorry. The
What?
one that's not here.
We're political, well, but we're not. I mean, we're not,
Right, we're nonpartisan.
right.
Yeah.
So,
But it's still in the political field.
it's in the political arena, and so.
And insurance companies will get around anything, either not to pay you or not to pay you, so.
Right, you're paying a premium not to be covered anyway, so.
Well,
There's a
okay,
loophole.
we're a 501c4, correct? A
501c4,
Correct.
nonprofit, but
Right.
it's not tax deductible.
Right, I understand that. I mean, I'm very familiar with that and on the
Yeah.
boards of other such
Right.
organizations. And as such, we are prohibited by IRS regulations from engaging in significant political activity.
Right.
The
So,
best that we can do
That's-
is a comparison contrast between 2 candidates and what we stand for. So like, the
Well,
election.
I know where he was going. He was just going with just for the basis for us to get the IRS qualification,
Right.
that by definition qualifies us.
by definition, we're legally prohibited as opposed to
We cannot endorse a
any,
candidate.
any other organization that's not 501c3 or 501c4
But there is a C4.
can indulge in political activity more than we can.
There's a C4, I don't know, 528, I'm trying to pull that out of my memory, that a lot of your packs are considered a C4, but they're a special C4
Yeah.
that can advocate for issues, political issues, which is sort of what we're doing.
See, like what the Kane-County-Chapter did is they made themselves a PAC, which basically is a different form of being a candidate's PAC. So, yes, they're taxable, they have to do a quarterly report.
501c4 is that you cannot endorse specific candidates, but you can do issues education.
Right.
You can't do and say, vote for this person, but you can do
Right.
and issue education and advocacy.
Yes.
So
Right,
if
yes,
your issues are not personalities or party labels, then you're good.
Well, since we deal with, we want to endorse legislation, what we can do is say that X, Y, and Z have 3 different candidates, X, Y, and Z. X and Y voted for our bill on election day audits. Z did not. That we can do
Right.
Vote
We can
for, not
identify-
our bill, but the bill.
for the bill that
Or
we
any bill that we are
behind.
having an
Or-
issue with, or supporting or
against.
not supporting.
Right, I mean, when you start to say our bill, then it makes you political. but when
Well,
you
basically,
Right, but let's go back to just the beginning question, which is the insurance company not insuring us because we're political.
Right, right.
we're too political.
Whether it's or not, it doesn't matter, if they, once they say that, don't bother going back.
Yeah.
Not
That's why I said go with Andy.
group for bill integrity, then you're a issue-based organization. And that is not political endorsement.
Right,
Right.
Right, that's exactly where we are. That's what we're applying
How
for.
about that, unless you say, and you can have them down on one side or the other in specific legislation, but you can't say, we want you to endorse this politician who is our
No.
Democratic sponsor of this bill. You can simply say, we want you to support this bill.
Right, right.
right, and you can state what the positions of different politicians are in an objective manner.
So, but
You can list, this is our issue, and we are very serious about this. These are the politicians who support it, and put a list of those people. These are the politicians who have made known they oppose it. These are the ones who have not made their position known. And that way you're not showing any favoritism, you're simply stating facts.
Exactly. And
That's just the test of facts. Then you cross a line when you say, we want you to contribute to the campaigns to return this person to office or to vote that person out of office, then, or the parties, then you're crossing a line into a political pact, but you're not there on issues, if you just stick to issues.
Right,
Right.
right.
moving on.
all right, so,
Well, the whole, to get back to this also too, is the whole thing is, like Larry was saying, he is a PAC, so he has to do the quarterly reports and everything else, kind of thing, just like a candidate does.
we still have to file 990s. It's a simplified 990
But
with the
it's
Attorney
once a
General's
year,
office.
right?
The
Yeah,
yeah,
once a year.
That's
The
not
E
quarterly.
form, yeah. Unless we get more than $50,000.
And I basically told Larry Quick that there was no way in hell I would endorse making us a PAC, because I know how well PACs run in McHenry County, and there'd be no way we'd get any members.
So does it make sense to make another quote to get another quote from another agent?
Oh, yeah.
Yes, we
We're
need to do
gonna,
that.
we're gonna,
We got
I'm gonna check with, I'm gonna check with,
Andy,
Okay.
Andy.
from the road
They
quarterly.
did with the,
Yeah.
Like I said, $2,400 with a gun
With what you've
liability in there.
yeah.
They may also be getting some sort of special military discount that we don't apply for.
He didn't
Well,
say nothing
well,
about
it's
that.
worth checking.
Yeah, absolutely.
So we will.
So, yeah, we're gonna go and check on that, but at least we still have an idea of what we need to raise, or, you know, we need to get, how many more members to join us so we get half of the fee.
We have to start doing something before we worry about the liability.
Yeah.
You know, at this point, not too high a risk factor.
So we're gonna table the insurance until we get another quote.
Yeah.
Everybody's in agreement
Well,
on that
just,
one?
yeah, keep getting quotes and whatever you
Yeah.
get from, get
Yes.
it.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
And what was the amount of that quote again?
I will take,
Total was 1,566.
Yeah, right, don't like this. Let's see if you can call it.
Yeah, yeah.
Cause I tried before, but he just kept asking questions I didn't have answers for.
Okay.
okay, the other officers we have here is Brett. You got anything on communications?
No, other than, I just, if you haven't already noticed, the members only Facebook page is live. The public Facebook page has been live. Haven't had much interaction, but then again, it hasn't been really getting out there
Breakdown. Did you want
in
to
the
break down?
Facebook world.
Oh, yeah, sure.
Anybody that finds anything on
668.
any of the voting kind of issues, go ahead and
898.
post it to our
is a DNO.
public page. Post it to the members page. Some of you still have not requested to become members. I think you're one of them,
Yeah, I've already been on Facebook lately,
okay?
making notes.
So basically, we have a private members only, which is our chapter, plus the state and any of the other chapters. We'll include them.
Okay.
So our state treasurer is also part of our members group.
How do we access that?
Should have sent you an email with both
Maybe you did.
links. If not, send me an email saying you don't have it, and I will send you the Facebook page for each one of them. And then you just, like any other closed group, request to be a member.
So that's Facebook, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, I think I responded to that.
What about
I'll have to
Google
look
Plus?
back.
Are we doing Google
Yeah,
Plus?
I think I'm not
You
sure
mean
if
one
I'm
that
on
should
the
come to
numbers.
That
What
one?
about MySpace?
That's a question for him. He's our communications.
Friendster?
No, it would be Hangouts, Mike. Not Google
Oh,
Plus
the Google Hands?
at this point.
Do we have a website yet?
I've got a generic YouTube page up.
Okay.
We got a YouTube, yeah.
It's pretty crappily worded in order to get the name post, so.
And you do all know that we are recording all of our meetings, and then we post them onto the public page. So at any point, anybody that's missed a
I
meeting,
do edit them, so.
back.
Oh, so you leave out any?
No, I don't bleep them out that way, but if somebody starts going on the diatribe about something completely off topic, that's when I go, delete, delete, delete.
Yeah.
Expletive deleted, all right, got it.
Okay, so
Yeah.
rolling is out.
So if you ever miss a meeting, you can go back
Go back
and,
and take a look.
I believe I have them all linked in the public Facebook group.
Yes.
So the
And that
first
should
post
be-
that pops up will have a link to each of the meetings that have been recorded.
they should be right at the top of the feed. Because we,
Yeah, as far as setting up a web page, in today's day and age, web pages are pretty much just links to Facebook anyway or YouTube, so.
Yeah.
basically, you said we could do it for like, what, less than $75 a year?
Well, depending on how you want to do it. I mean, you can buy a server and get, the email addresses and all that crap with it. Like 3 years for like $130. But it just all depends on which way you want to go with it, that's all. Or you can just set up a free Wix page and you don't.
Free web page?
I think at one point.
It's called Wix, it's
Yeah.
just like a
Actually, which is pretty good.
make your own web page by just typing in certain things and it just does it for you.
And it's free.
At some point, we're gonna need to do like, some sort of way to stop using my email for everything.
Yeah.
That's easy, just set yourself up with an actual Google account. Comes with a free email, it's weird how that works.
I need 5 email addresses like I need a hole in the head.
Yeah, start to.
Okay, so we got Mike and Mary Jo. Anything as far as officer reports from either one of you two?
I have nothing.
Okay, as far as I've got,
Mike Towers got something to say.
do you?
You asked her, but she said she had nothing, and you didn't wait for my
I'm
answer.
sorry. Dude, remember, I'm half deaf on my right side, so you're on my
Let's
right
sit
side.
down together on this next time.
So do you have anything like
No,
that?
no,
Okay.
He just wanted to be asked.
That's awesome.
But well, no wonder you're a liberal, you can only hear things on the left.
Oh,
Oh! Oh!
Drop the mic.
That's kind of good.
okay.
Will that be
You
edited
notice
out?
he's sitting all the way in the too. I don't know, Brett's out of the room.
Well, he'll edit it before it goes back up.
Well, I missed that one.
Oh.
All right.
Okay,
I do have one question.
yes.
I'm gonna count these. I want to make sure I got all the names in this list.
We are up to 21 members.
All right, I got 21 here, so
Okay.
assuming they're all the same, we're good.
Do we have cable yet?
No, we won't be getting cable.
Uh-oh,
Now she's not coming?
she's stuck in the snow.
You know, we were planning on, you know,
She went to
cleaning up this
Woodstock.
meeting and then going there to help them. So
Yeah.
Stop.
I know.
she does know that, right?
What kind of
Anyway.
cable, what cable are we missing?
HDMI cable, just,
And they don't have one in
no,
the
why
right?
didn't you just
I didn't
send me
see
a
one.
message?
because I thought it was covered.
I may actually have one in my trunk.
That's true, you might.
Would you like me to check?
Yes, you could, please.
No.
Also, doesn't the library happen to have one available?
We've looked.
I mean, did you ask?
This is a board member of the library.
Oh.
Like I said, I already said, that's problem number one, that won't stay down, so that's gonna get fixed, that's the first thing on the agenda. And then HDMI cable's number two.
Oh, I thought you meant he was a member, but he was bored.
No, that too.
Not until June does he get sworn in. Okay.
Yeah, no. Exactly where are we in the agenda here?
Oh,
We're
on the bottom here.
officer and committee reports. We jumped to that because I was waiting on something for a picture to go up on there to explain the 8 areas of the elections.
While we're waiting, when I was doing this, I sent you an email about it.
Okay.
Well, in the bylaws, there was a portion in here, it refers to being a 501c3, but we are not, we're 501c4. Yeah. It's Article 2, Section 2.1c, other purposes. Chapter may engage in any other activity allowed for 501c3. Technically, we're a 4.
Okay.
We should vote on changing that from a 3 to a 4 in our bylaw.
Should wait for Mike to get back.
Good idea.
I'm sure it won't be bad.
Since,
Okay, wait, what was I gonna say that? So I can-
all right, it's Article 2.
Actually, I think you should probably just push to move that for the vote next meeting,
Okay.
Well, actually, we want
right?
Get
a
that.
correct copy when we're sending it.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
Yeah, we gotta get that fixed. Oh, boy.
And it's a very minor thing. It's Section 2.1.c, other purposes. That top line, the chapter may engage in any other activity allowed for 501c3, not for profit. It should say 501c4. Just change the number from 3 to 4,
Okay.
and everything is copacetic. I happened to notice that when I was typing these things up, so.
Okay, so we need to make a motion on it to discuss.
I shall
it, then a
move that we make that change I just
I
mentioned.
second.
Discussion?
Any discussion?
Well, if we don't do it, there's a possibility that somebody at the IRS might notice.
Might
Look
look at it.
outside
That's exactly it. see.
application.
Yeah, that would be
I
bad.
just want you to discuss it till Mike gets back.
Let's cross our eyes, yeah, let's cross our eyes or cross our eyes and dot our T's, right?
Okay.
Um,
Can you cross your eyes?
So we are waiting on Michael to get back so we can hold a vote.
Well,
You don't
we
even
we
have
have a
to
quorum, we can either vote or not.
So,
Yeah, but
yeah, I can't get a whole thing of them, that's not good.
anyway, that was, yeah.
Well, in the meantime, well, I was gonna say, for those of you who don't know me, I worked as an administrative officer for an intelligence office. So my perspective on things is
You're dumb shit.
those kind of threats that they would be looking at, sovereign citizens, foreign countries, etc., outside threats. My concern is that there's one of those organizations could force us into a hand count, costing us
What?
money. They could force us into a hand count,
Hand count.
Hand count,
right,
okay.
and cost us a lot of money by forcing hand counts, and that's something that we need to be thinking about. That, you know, just trying to get somebody elected isn't just the only issue, that there's financial costs and other ways of being attacked.
Yeah.
All right, Mike, while you were gone, our treasurer brought up the fact that our bylaws has us as the wrong.
One minor flaw. It's, okay, I'll read it again, since you were here. It was a, Article 2, purposes, Section 2.1.c, other purposes, says the chapter may engage in any other activity allowed for 501c3, not-for-profit. We're a 4, so we just need to change the 3 to a 4.
So we had a motion to do that
Because that is stuff we actually turn in
to the
on
IRS.
these forms, so. We don't want the IRS pointing that out to us after 6 months of looking at our paperwork.
Yeah, definitely.
So Larry made the motion, Bob went ahead and seconded it. We sort of held off doing the vote until you got back.
Because it might be tight.
Do we have to do a roll call on amendment changes?
I don't think so.
Or can we do a voice?
I think this is a roll call.
Yeah, might as well just do
Or
it.
Can we?
Either hand or roll call. I don't think it can be a voice because it's it's changing
All right.
the founding documents.
I'm in favor.
Larry's a yes.
I'm in favor.
Okay, Eric's yes.
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
Real,
Oh, still with the stain?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, Diane?
Yes.
And Lisa's a yes.
yeah.
And then yourself.
Oh, yeah, yes.
Okay, unanimous vote, it's been passed.
All right, good.
Okay, so what I have is the Woodstock Pride booth. We had to put in an application. Taking it, the application has been approved. They sent us a contract for non-profit organizations. Basically, it's saying, one, nonprofit spaces are limited and are at the discretion of the WPF committee. 2, specific locations may not be requested. You will receive a pre-event email 1 week before the event with your location assignment and loading and unloading parking instruction. Requests for changes will not be honored. 3, no nonprofit will be allowed to set up prior to checking in at 9 a.m. on Sunday, June 9th. Nonprofits agree, that's number 4, nonprofits agree to set up and take down times of their booths as stated in the pre-event email sent 1 week prior to the event. 5 is no late setups are allowed. All exhibits must be up by 11 a.m. 6, nonprofits may not take down their exhibit before 4 p.m. on the day of the event. 7, no display, booth, tent, or equipment is allowed to extend beyond the perimeters of the space or block another vendor on either side. 8, nonprofit agrees to adhere to all safety instructions and recommendations, whether oral or written. 9, nonprofits identification will be provided in your vendor pack at check-in. Packets will be handed to you when you check in prior to setup. Nonprofit agrees to comply with all applicable federal, state, and local laws and regulations while participating in the event. 2 nonprofit badges per booth are provided. All parties participating in an exhibit should wear identification during the event, and corporate identification should be worn if applicable. 10, the resale of booth space is strictly prohibited. 11, nonprofits must have their booth tents staffed at all times during event hours. Parking after you've moved your items for your booth/tent, please move your vehicle to one of the Metro parking lots on Troop or Clay Streets to make room for attendees. 13, no smoking is permitted in the vendor booth/tent area. 14, nonprofits bringing children under the age of 13, please do not leave your children unattended at any time. 15, nonprofits may advertise and distribute from their assigned spaces only. 16, Woodstock Pride Fest reserves the right to reject any application for space or any item or handout by a nonprofit for any reason. 17, nonprofit is responsible for providing their own chairs, tables, and pop-up candy. No stakes may be used as security items. And then assumption of risk, release of liability, identification. Nonprofit including without limitation to its owners, members, managers, officers, directors, employees, volunteers, agents, or guests, activity participants. Acknowledge the activity exposes the activity participants to risks and hazards, some of which are inherent in the very nature of the event itself. Others will result from natural causes, error, and negligence on the part of third parties or the activity host, and that as a result of the risks and hazards, activity participants may suffer serious personal injury and property losses. So this is basically where that insurance would be kicking in.
What interesting that they said we have a risk from the host, but
And it just keeps going down with, we release them.
Boilerplate release of liability.
Yeah, we release them, we defend it and hold them harmless, that we are participating, and that these are binding agreement. So basically, I have started filling this out. I have not signed it yet because I think we should vote on whether or not we still want to do this without the insurance. I don't see a whole big change happening, a lot of risk involved for the most part. The Pride event has gone off in the past years with no major events happening.
I have VA healthcare, so, yeah.
no, but the primary risk is probably somebody from
And
some premises organization trying to drive their car through the thing.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
Or somebody
You're not
tripping
calling
and
out
falling
any groups
face
like
first.
that.
on the
That's
table.
more likely.
That can happen anywhere.
This looks like a good, with the fall down in front of it.
So if we're gonna do this right and by the book, we should open it up for a vote, and then discussion happens, and then we
Right.
have the vote,
So I need
so.
a motion first.
I motion that we vote to approve, the contract for the Pride Fest.
I second.
Yeah.
Okay, now discussion.
Now, yeah, thank you.
Okay.
Let's do it right.
Okay.
we all agree.
Smelly you dance. Couldn't find it in the jacket, but you found that.
You got Robert's rules, do you?
That's awesome.
No HDMI cable, but I got Robert's rules.
That's the most boring book in the whole world.
It is.
Okay,
If
so
you
like
have
I already
syrup
said,
insomnia, read Robert's
And
book.
that's
All right,
where it's
uh,
at.
I mean, if some nut group, like, I won't mention,
Yeah.
No, I mean, if, somebody's there to disrupt, they're gonna disrupt the whole darn thing. And
Yeah,
quite
it's not
frankly,
gonna
if somebody's gonna skin their knee in front of the IBIP booth, go ahead and sue me, because I have nothing to do.
Yeah, $262 is your net gain on that one.
Yeah.
Right, that's it, I don't know.
Technically, we don't even have that in the bank yet.
That's
Yeah.
true.
You have a bank account for them to seize.
Well,
Check,
yes,
yeah.
And we individually hold personal liability for any of our individual actions.
Yeah, right.
Diane, any comments?
Diane?
Are you on mute?
Calling Diane,
Did you guys put her to sleep already?
Bueller.
she's still there. I mean, her, it's open.
Yeah, it's still on.
So it sounds like
Diane, you still with us?
Yes, I am.
Oh, there you are.
I didn't realize it.
Oh. Oh, it's all good. It's all good. Any thoughts on the booth at Woodstock Pride?
No, I'm fine with everything, so it's okay.
Okay.
In agreement, I've been listening very carefully, and I'm in agreement, and it sounds fine.
One thing that's certain is that Woodstock Pride has an attorney,
As a what?
has an attorney that wrote that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
They're also in partnership with the chamber now.
Oh.
So the chamber, we had to turn this into the chamber.
That's probably boilerplate then.
Yeah. Yeah.
There is a question. Are they asking for proof of insurance for our group?
No. Nowhere in here does it say we need any proof of insurance. They're
Yeah,
just
because
saying,
many of them,
you're assuming.
Doesn't do.
Yeah.
they want you to have a liability insurance coverage.
Well, yeah, like I know the college does to hold a
Oh,
meeting.
right, or,
They gotta have a certificate of insurance.
yeah, any of these fairs that you go to,
Right.
if you're participating, but renting a table tip, I don't think they, but if you're serving food or if you're running a ride, you have to have
Oh,
liability.
gosh,
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what we need is a ride.
Selling something.
Well, you know, we could do the little ducks in a pond and have them pull them out and give them something, you know, like a sucker.
See how that's a good
Well,
idea.
basically.
Well,
I was
nothing they
gonna
can
sh-
choke on now, Larry.
Right.
Are you?
Yeah.
damn it, Larry.
No,
Keep
but
going
we
on
do-
to the second part of what, my part of the report.
Well, I was bringing it up for the insurance to see if there was insurance.
No, but we could do the ducks in the pond and do it as a demonstration of how you could hack a duck.
There you go.
Okay, so I guess we go on to a vote?
Yep.
Anyone want to do by voice?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, unanimous. Moving on to the next item is basically, I wanted to have something that we could hand out. And I don't know if everybody has seen this by now. Have you gotten a copy of this?
Here, I'll go ahead and pass this.
And then the other one about why to do hand ballots. Because of the barcode, that you can't read it, kind of thing.
Well, I mean, if you can do a hand
Need
bill.
to keep it all together.
Right.
Yeah.
Mike, you've seen this,
I
or?
do have a brief.
That's all the copies I got right here on the
So basically, I've asked the state to get some form of this that I could edit myself. And they basically told me to jump it. They want to know whatever we're going to change, so they will make the changes for us, maybe. I put that request in this morning. But I wanted them to change things like, our little Bullwinkle spy dude, if you look at the next column, it says yes, Illinois legislation for election day audit, and it's got the bill numbers. I wanted them to take out the bill numbers because this will be after the session ends this year, so
Yeah, we probably.
it doesn't make any sense to ask them to vote on something that they can't vote on anymore.
We probably shouldn't use copyrighted characters like Boris.
Yeah, I was thinking the same
Or
thing.
Starla. Yeah. Diane, we're looking at a threefold flyer that was given to us by the state group. And basically, we're just gonna scrap it and do what we want for Pride.
Well, we're trying to get them to change it.
If you need help with flyers, I have a lot of background in that sort of thing.
Oh, that's right.
I have a PDF for the one that I wanted to get this stuff.
Yeah, people actually pay me to do that stuff, so I can help out with that for free.
Also,
That would be awesome.
the first inside page is totally irrelevant to Illinois. All of those machines have been decertified, so those machines are no longer relevant, and that data is out of date.
Which under protect your vote heading?
No, the first,
Machines vulnerable.
machines vulnerable to attack. All of those have been decertified by Illinois.
Sweet.
Yeah,
Those are the old machines, the ones prior to the ones we use right now.
all right, so.
So
we
that,
need
that
something
whole side
relevant.
is totally useless.
Okay, the other one, this is the only copy I was able to get from the state, and it's about the unreadable barcode at the top. Unlike when I worked with warehousing and stuff, where I've dealt with barcode languages, this does not even put anything underneath the barcode. What I'm getting at is like, I used to have to make like inventory labels with barcodes, and it would actually put the part number underneath the barcode, or it would put the quantity underneath the barcode, so you knew that this box had 200 pieces in it, and it was X, Y, and Z part number. And it would actually put a barcode there, and it would actually print out a description of what was inside it, so it could be like red paint, you know, or number 10 paint, or whatever.
Yeah. So there was
So-
a question I had for you. There was some talk about looking for a way to get those secondary check on those barcodes. That would be acceptable.
Yeah.
Is there a way that we could potentially have the big screen on the optical scan
Like show you something about that?
yeah.
I don't know.
And then we could close it off so it's still private for each one of the machines, and you scroll through, make sure that machine reads it, and then click confirm and it drops it in.
Well, before the election, Mike and I were talking about this, it's like, why can't we have a standalone scanner display like you
Nobody would
have
stop
at
at
the
the station.
grocery
Yeah.
store for a price check?
But nobody would stop it though, so I'm talking
But
about.
then what we
right
were
there.
talking
Right there on
about
the
too.
tabulator, right?
Right.
Yeah, that's what I was
So
saying.
it goes through, it reads it, it displays what the barcode is saying right on it.
Well, the other thing that
Then
Mike
you hit
brought up,
confirm and it drops it in.
Is
Even
even
that
if
way you
we-
got two machines telling you what the barcode is. The one
Right,
that we
right.
put it on, the one it reads it on.
Right.
But right now, that one shows like anybody in the room can see it.
Right,
So is
it's
that-
just a matter of rotating and closing them off like the voting.
Putting a
units,
towel
yeah.
on it or
Yeah.
something like that.
Right, okay.
well, the other thing too that.
And it's got a big full color screen
Oh, it does, yeah.
Well,
Mike brought up,
Small full color screen.
Yeah.
compared to the old one.
Yeah, all right.
But everything's relative.
well, since
Yeah.
we got you here too, maybe you could settle this one for us too, is
Right.
one of the things that Mike and I were talking about is even if we had a reader that would display it, it would display a code. So
No.
like, this is precinct, you'd have a number for the precinct and a number for the race and a number for which candidate in that race, not a worded,
Well,
it
if
wouldn't
I
come
were,
up like, you know,
Mhm.
this the first one is candidate John Smith.
well, I mean, so I'm pretty sure, I'm trying to play back some tape in my head here, but I think, for example, if you either overvote or undervote in races where those things count, it will tell you that in the so-and-so mayor race or whatever,
You've been overvoted.
you overvoted or something like that. So,
Basically,
so it should, I mean, it's not impossible to imagine that it would know, that it couldn't say, you voted for president, you know, Horace Badenoff and, you know, whoever else in summary or something, you know, it might not, I'd have to go back to manufacturing.
basically the question it boils down to, is that an alphabetic
Or
or numeric barcode?
I don't know. Oh, you mean, is it a representation of the alphabetic,
Right, because the.
Boris Badenoff? I
Yeah.
don't think so, no, I believe it's a.
A numeric
mnemonic,
code
yeah.
that checks against the
database,
database
yeah.
for what that.
So like my example is like we have 212 precincts, so each precinct is numbered 1001 through 212, let's say.
Okay,
So the first part of that code that would come up would be the 3-digit number for whatever precinct it is.
probably not. Probably not. There's a unique ballot style code.
This code up here, this is your precinct.
Okay.
These are your votes. This is,
So then the other, let me keep going, okay.
It should be, True.
So
It
each
should
one of
be-
these would be representing a race.
Perhaps.
So you might have a numeric value for which race on the
Well, you
ballot
have to
itself.
have, don't
So
you?
you know that this 001 or 01 is the village president.
Perhaps,
02
yeah.
is the trustee.
Yeah, but-
It could be any number of things. It could be a hash of, all those barcodes could represent a hash. That's the checksum of all of your votes.
Okay.
True. I think what you're getting at is you wanted to print what
Display.
they voted, display what they voted. If they have the numeric,
It would
you
have to
think
be
it is,
worded.
it should be able to reference its database and
Right.
pull it up.
Right.
Right, that's what I was
We
talking
don't
about,
have
that's what I was
the
talking about earlier, is
sophisticated-
that being able to bring up the individual record of the ballot
And
as
that's what
opposed
they're
to
talking
a
about
machine.
doing here. But just because it's numeric doesn't mean it can't access that database
It
and
doesn't mean
display
that the
it.
scanner has got that intelligence into it.
Right.
Because
Well,
this
no,
might
we don't even
transmit
know if
that-
they can display it,
that
whether we
numeric
want it or
code.
not.
Yeah, the scanner does, because the scanner I'm talking about using is the tabulator, the ballot box.
Okay.
It-
Yeah, right.
It prints that out at the end of the night, it
Yeah.
knows what those counts are.
Okay.
Right, it does know what, yeah, it has to know what they are, because it gives you a count.
Yeah.
Just whether or not our systems can do it is another question.
Right.
Whether or not we can display each one as they go through is.
Right,
different.
but as I said, that's the, having the individual record that's verifiable.
Right,
That either the voter or even an election judge, if they have to go back because they think there's something funky going on.
well, my question for this subject is, I understand it's by law, the voters should be able to verify their ballot,
Right.
right?
Yep.
And with your counting the barcode on the tabulator, without that display, they are not.
So you can argue that. It also shows you the name, Boris Badenoff for president.
No, it doesn't show you anything.
Yes,
Oh,
it
yeah,
does.
It does.
It shows you a barcode.
No, it shows you the races and who you voted for.
Follow this.
I think I know what you're
You
saying.
have
is
to
you
print
can't
it, you
trust
have
the,
to
you
print
don't
it.
trust the barcode is correlating to the
Well,
race.
what I'm saying is that
race
you
or-
could, somebody could program that machine to flip your vote, so the barcode is different than what you're reading.
Yeah.
So technically, they're not able to verify the vote, because you're not counting what they're looking at, you're counting the barcode, which they can't interpret.
Right, that's the flaw in the system as it is.
So that's the,
So
and
unless you
so
could stick the barcode into a reader and have it display what.
what that barcode,
that
so
means.
having that display would resolve that
Issue.
Right.
issue altogether.
And I'll make this
Maybe,
baby
yeah.
SMS and see what they have to say.
Maybe,
they
I,
have something.
as far as I'm concerned, you'd have to have a separate verified machine, because if, I can tell a computer to say whatever the heck I want. I can program.
Yeah,
No, I-
right.
So you'd have to have an extra machine really to
get
actually.
that.
Right.
At least they
Because
would
I
be
could
very-
take the verifying code and switch it around so
Well, let's-
election day.
Well, let's just say, correctly programmed, that machine would have a verifiable vote for the voter to check. That
Mhm.
what they said is in there and that gets counted. Whether or not that's being hacked and flipped at some point, that's what
I get what-
this
I get
hand
what Joe
count
is
stuff
saying,
is
that
for.
you could still have that barcode when it comes up on the display, because like we said before, you can write the code to know that, hey, I'm in test mode, so I'm not gonna screw around.
I get this,
Hang
but
on.
you still have an audit after that, so if what we're doing, that would show what the barcode,
Once we
theoretically.
get an audit bill passed, but we don't have that yet.
But I'm just saying, it's a two-step thing.
Right.
First is, it took us how long to get a piece of paper to come back so we could audit it? And second, now, if we get this thing to display the barcode, that's a tiny step. Then you have the audit part. Now you can verify. Boy, I'm glad we don't have to kill time anymore. Because we can't get a table.
All this is one thing. This is literally gonna take 10 minutes.
But Larry, when it all comes down to
I wish
it,
I was there to follow that
if the machine-
conversation. It sounds like somebody's saying that giving people a barcode that shows that they voted or whatever is somehow adequate to verify their vote. Actually, that's kind of a little ridiculous. That does nothing. I mean, it just lets you show that the voter that doesn't give you any verification as to the votes that you cast or the ones that are being counted, or that nothing has been changed and that nothing has been deleted. You don't have that until you have something physically in hand, because those can be changed just about at any time along the process. And that's been proven way back like 15 years ago with people machines and that. I sat there even before they got to the current voting machines and watched the reports come in at McHenry County. I was sitting there on behalf of the Daily Herald to watch the votes as they were tabulated, and you could see the screen, and they showed them as they were being tabulated, and they shifted from one column to the other right before your eyes. So to think that that somehow gives you some sort of evidence or proof or validation that your vote was counted as you cast it is ridiculous. It's just an excuse to make people think that they're getting validation when in fact there's no such thing.
Right, that's what I was getting at, is that if we could program these things to know the difference between test and live, a good hacker could still make it where it knows what the barcode, or what you wanted originally,
Exactly.
and it could still show you what you wanted, but when it comes in behind after the display, it can put whatever it wants in the count.
Make up security with the machines that McHenry County has.
Hold on one second. To test a machine, the only way to be sure that it is doing what it's supposed to is you use the live system that you're going to use on election day. You manually enter the date. Y2K, remember that. Date matters. You manually enter the date and run it as if it was going to be a real election. If everything comes out right, you blast out the information, you send it out. That's the only way to do that.
Yeah.
That's the only way to test a machine.
Well, yeah.
So let's get back to what we're gonna do with the booth, okay?
Well, we have something on the floor.
Quick, Chef Tim.
no.
Oh, okay.
I have not put anything up for a motion or a vote.
Okay.
So what I was gonna say is, we all sort of agree that even though the touch screens are all nice and everything else, they are still our biggest Achilles heel right now
No.
with these.
Vulnerability.
That's why you and I were talking about a different type of touch screen with the current on.
But it doesn't really matter, does it? Because every single one of these things somehow is vulnerable to being hacked.
Right.
And the only way you can protect them is to make
With the
sure,
audits.
once they're certified, whatever process you come up with is, to make sure that they never leave custody, a chain of custody. That it's been locked up from here to here to here, and it's all followed and certified.
To add to that, it can't go online.
And it
It
can
can't go online,
All right.
period.
So the thing is,
And there
is the procedures in place now, and I'd have to probably say they're probably a little loose, because most counties are a little loose, because they send the machines to schools and they're told to be secure, and yet they're sitting out in the cafeteria because that's where they're gonna vote. And so they push them in there and they leave them there, and you don't have somebody watching them 24/7. So yeah, they're vulnerable to a degree.
Some of your equipment.
Everything is. I mean, everything is. There is, if we can put a guy on the moon, if we can accomplish that, things can be hacked. I mean, that's for sure. That's no doubt.
Well, and that's what I'm saying.
None of
So-
your voting equipment's still here, but there is an information kiosk in here for election day.
Oh, really?
Yeah. You notice that when we're looking for a table, I'll show it to you.
Okay.
Hey, that's
There is
a-
virtually no way to ensure integrity of voting machines unless you know that there's integrity from start to finish, from the manufacturer, to the programmer, to the local officials that are managing it, to
Right, and we can't even Here's
That's the ISO
something.
standards.
Yeah, here's what is,
Ul-
here's one thing that is feasible.
Ultimately, anything that you can use against the machines, you can use against the paper ballot.
Right.
If the printer uses a special type of ink that's the disappearing ink that
Yeah.
changes what it is.
Yeah.
If the people that take the ballots to the delivery location open it up and take out a handful of them that voted for the wrong, anything you can
Or
come
just
up
switch
with
the whole
that
box
use
over.
against the machines, you can use against the paper ballot just as easily.
That's why I love the audit idea, and not like we talked about before, that having somebody show up at every polling place is
No.
not realistic. But
At the
The
collection
only
point,
really
at the collection point,
it's more realistic.
right,
You have
at
to
least
have
it
things-
minimizes your cost. It
Right.
reduces the cost.
Yeah.
Well, hey,
So
that's gonna be the biggest issue when you're trying to get something like that passed.
Well, not just the cost, but finding these CPAs who are willing to do this.
Well, I don't know that we need do we need a CPA?
I thought that was stipulated in the earlier stuff, is that they
For
need
the-
CPAs.
The way they have this here is a two-part thing. You have the election day, which you can have tally judges or regular election judges do it. Okay? My complaint that I've seen, and I know this is gonna be the same one, you're gonna agree with me on this, is you have a hard time getting enough judges
Oh,
to legally staff as it
you
is.
are not kidding.
Well, that's
You are
why,
not kidding.
but
So
that's,
to do a split shift or get a second set of tally judges to come in at the end of the night
Right,
ain't gonna happen.
No,
Not in this
no.
county.
yeah.
no, at the collection points though,
At the
when we're
time,
talking 4 or 5,
4 per collection point, so that
Yeah.
we have 5, that would be 20 judges that he
Right.
would have to, or tally judges.
at least.
So what he was getting at is that they also are requiring a firm to come in and do a after election day.
Yeah, I'm
The
not,
way I rewrote the amendment that I'm gonna talk to the state group tomorrow, I don't know if you've heard about this. 3 of us have been invited to a phone with Dr. Laura Chamberlain from Clean Cook County,
Oh, okay.
and a few other election ballot or election integrity groups across the state.
Cool.
And we are discussing exactly amending this bill.
And which bill is that?
That's
one?
either the 1197, they're both the same.
Okay, the House and
Okay.
Senate.
They're both the same
Yeah.
exact word. I just picked 2225 to play with,
Okay.
all right? The way I wrote it is, if you have more than a 1% variance between your audit and the tape coming off the machine, then you have to have an independent auditor come in and do a 25%
Right,
audit.
right.
But it's only if your tally judges come up with a discrepancy on election day. That's the way I rewrote it. Now, if you do have these folks have to come in for this other audit,
Mhm.
then you would be exempt from the 5% audit that the state is requiring.
Mm.
Because you're already doing a 25% audit, now why the hell should you have to also pay for the 5% audit?
Right, right,
It's either or.
right.
That was the thing that some of the people were complaining about too, is, well, you're gonna have me pay for these extra judges, then you're gonna have me pay for this other company to come in and do another 10% audit,
Yeah,
and then you're gonna have, we gotta pay for the 5% audit that the state requires.
right.
No, that's sort of like, the costs are gonna be
Right.
astronomical.
Yeah.
Let's only bring in the outside auditors if the original group finds something outside. And that's the
Well,
other
let me-
thing too, is there was no, I've done inspection plans 20, 30 years now, okay? I can't just tell these guys, yeah, measure this stuff, and if it's outside the tolerance, I have to tell them what to do. And I have to give them a tolerance. I can't just say measure it. And that's
Right.
what this original bill was saying, measure it, put it into a report, and then we all know what happens with reports in
Right.
government.
Right,
They get filed and nobody sees it ever again.
right.
What I was wondering, if maybe, if you're looking for electronic tampering, what would be the cost to have an IT person examine it to do a sample of the hard drives to see if there was actual tampered.
They won't let us.
Yeah, right, and I don't think,
Other than that.
you'd
Well,
have to, you'd have
That's
to.
the point of the law.
Yeah. I mean,
Change it.
it's not impossible, but you have to say, what are you comparing it to, and how do you know that that gold image isn't tampered with as
Yeah.
well?
Right.
That's why open source is probably the best answer, because then you've got a chain of custody with the open source.
Right, yeah. But
Okay.
then again, you still don't know that somebody didn't tamper it with it since, you know what
More
I mean?
into the
Right, so many eyes.
public
Yeah.
section of the meeting. Let's
Sorry.
get back to
Well,
the
yes.
pride.
Let me ask you
Okay.
this, when are you doing that? You were just talking about that audit?
Tomorrow is the phone conference.
Fine, no. So what you're proposing is you audit at these 4 or 5 collection points, you come up with a 1% variance, and then you do a 25% audit?
By an independent auditor.
Okay, and when would that 25% be done?
I think I put in there within 72 hours.
Okay, so you triggered a flag, but
Can
you
we
don't,
hold that part of the discussion off to
Okay,
the
that's
public
fine.
session where we are gonna be talking about the bills? And
well, you started talking.
Well, it's
No,
because
it
of the
just-
handout.
He's talking about the
Right.
flyer for the Pride Parade.
Okay,
28
so
minutes
Diane, would you be willing to meet with myself and Michael, since he knows more about our equipment, and redo the state handout with us before the next meeting?
Yeah?
I don't think she knew you were talking to her.
Diane,
Hello, yes?
are you willing to meet with Mike Toller and I and go over redoing this handout by the next meeting?
Yes,
Okay.
okay. Okay.
All right, so let's leave it to, we want to fix whatever flyer that Mike and Diane and I come up with. Say to hell with the state, waiting on them.
Yeah,
Because I also wanted to add our contact information underneath their contact information. If we're going to hand this out, I think we should have, it's us that are handing it out.
Or just scan it in, OCR it, and just do whatever you want to it. You don't need anything from them.
I think it needs to be completely rebuilt.
Yeah, especially since there's copyrighted images on here, like you
Yeah,
said.
or it's bad enough.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
unless they
Keep them
pays the toll on that.
I don't see
Remember,
that
we're getting their
happening.
own insurance because they haven't, after 9 years, have not even got their own insurance and won't cover us under their policy because they don't have one. And we're getting our own tax number because they are a C corporation and not a 501c3 or 4.
Alright, so yeah, this needs to be redone, and I need to see this.
Well, let's leave this one out.
Alright.
The other thing that I want to have at the booth is a volunteer sign-up sheet that we already have done, and our membership application form. At some point, maybe if we have money, we might ask Mary Jo about some sort of like table apron or cross thing that we could use in parades, like the one you did for my
Like a
parade.
banner, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, Anna.
Yeah, you can put that up on the
I
table.
have some things I can donate for that. I think I've got table cover of some sort. I've also got a professional, like a trifold display that stands up on the table that we can customize and possibly a banner. I know where to get banners done for very inexpensive cost, so.
I mean, Larry's gonna eat up 130 of our 260 bucks. We're gonna have to save some money for printing these, cause I know our supply toner's getting a little bit low again.
Well,
And I
Georgie
can't-
family would be willing to donate the tent with sides, tables, chairs.
We have some displays.
I have some I have like we have a stand-up for like the trifold brochures. I think that it'll fit that.
Yeah.
I have some of those,
I have
for
I
sure.
have folding chairs and
Yeah, me
folding
too.
tables and
Mine have padded
I know you
seats.
do that. And, yeah, so we should,
Like these.
I'll get some of my things together and we can talk about what we're gonna need, but I think we can make a nice looking display.
Our May meeting is gonna be on the 25th. That gives us 2 weeks to get anything we need printed.
Well, we can look at we can make some more IBIP buttons. I think those would be fun, you know, if you wanna throw a donation jar out there.
I don't know if we can get a.
Can we do donation jar? Larry?
What's that?
Can we do a donation jar, you know, $1 for a button or something crazy like that?
Yeah, why not?
Because I didn't tell them we were selling anything, so. we
No,
can't
it's a
tell
donation.
them.
I mean, they can have them for free too, I don't care. But, you know,
You could just put a donation jar out there, it doesn't
Yeah,
force anybody
and
to
scan
put money in
stuff
it.
out.
Okay,
yeah.
how we doing? Did we already donate all the rest of our button material?
Yes, if they went to.
Yeah, don't,
Yeah,
yeah,
no, we would need new button guts. So, I mean, I can get those ordered in. That's no problem.
okay.
Button guts.
Guts.
Well, I've got a button maker.
Yeah, we've got the tools to do.
Yeah, we've got the tooling, we just need the guts and.
You know, we got the die and everything for that size. It's a hell of a lot cheaper than paying somebody, Joe.
Oh, yeah, no kidding. Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
With
I
the
mean, you
amount
can
of-
make them
It's
for
just
about
the total
25
effort that's
cents,
gonna be-
just paying $3
Mention
a
a few
piece,
buttons,
so, yeah,
yeah.
it's well worth the investment.
Yeah, because it's what, like $69 for,
You can get 250 for about 32 and some change, not including shipping and tax,
that's the guts.
for
And
the
then
button guts,
printing off the,
yeah. I mean,
What's in the button?
Oh, it's a button back,
No,
it's a
no,
button.
no, I mean,
Oh.
the guts are what's in the button.
Right.
If you guys wanna do a banner's, design to match the brochure, and I'll do the banner, I'll just throw it in.
Oh, thank you.
it'll be an in-kind kind of thing, right, Larry?
It's a donation.
Do we have to do in-kind donations for the
For something like that, we
501c4?
don't.
Okay,
Let's cover our, let's,
yeah, I have no idea how it works, that's why you're over there.
Yeah, no,
Okay.
but
Okay,
we're not doing reports, to the politics.
okay,
No
okay, so we don't have to
political reporting
mess
of
with
your
any of that.
donations for 501c.
Yeah, we're not donating to,
We're not a PAC,
no.
and we're not
Right.
a
Okay.
political action committee or citizens for
Nobody's
anyone.
ego will be boosted by our donations.
Yeah.
alright.
Yeah, the IRS only cares about cash that we collect. That's all they care
Yeah,
about.
now, if we get $1,000, they wanna know you had $1,000, but
They don't give a shit if somebody.
How bad
$1,000 doesn't matter. Well, you just have to report $990 and you send it in once a year, here's what we have, boom.
Well, actually, it's only if you have more than
Right.
$50,000 that you have to report. How much?
Right, but you do have to give them an informational $990.
Yeah, I know, I do
Yeah.
it all the time.
Okay, Diane, I will get in touch with you like on Monday and try to coordinate with the three of us sometime to get together next week and get this going.
Right. Yeah, Monday will be fine.
Any other member comments? I think we might forego the public session depending on what it looks like out there, Brett.
Oh, there's like water on the ground. I'll go double check since it's looking like that.
It's not below freezing.
Because we got about a half hour till we gotta get out of the room.
I have a question about the barcodes.
Yep, there's still no snow on the ground.
Coming down, but next
From a previous meeting, we were talking about the fact that the
Before I left.
barcodes are proprietary code,
We think,
we think.
yeah.
Yeah. Why can't it be required by one of these bills or these two bills or whatever, that the barcoding has to be something generic, something
A
that's
universal
a
code.
universal
We have a
code?
100 or
universal
so,
code, barcode.
yeah.
I mean,
language is out
you know,
there.
then if any machine manufacturer wants the state's business, they have to comport to that. It isn't like they
Yeah.
can dictate that to the state.
And why can't they do it, like I said, on the inventory labels that we put on boxes, you know?
Well,
You
it's
got
just
the
like anything
barcode,
else,
that's what
though.
it is, written right
What's that?
It's like anything else. The state puts it out for bid every year,
Yes.
but there's only one company that does it.
Well,
So
no.
it's, well, no, I shouldn't say there's one
There's
company.
three
that does it.
major companies.
Yeah.
There's a
There's
few.
a couple more trying to, right, however many there is. So I'm gonna give you the argument for, why it's a proprietary barcode. I'm just gonna play devil's advocate. So you can't hack it. So you can't put something in there, you make a barcode at home using UPC 64 and
And
now
what's
it-
your answer, Mike?
No.
You can hack anything.
Yeah, right.
Well, I suppose the point is that the government needs access to that to be able to verify
Right.
the
And they won't
integrity,
give it-
right.
even if it's
So
proprietary.
you can cut, so you can take a scanner not made by that company, and scan it, and you can have a dozen different people with different scanners, and all verify that code is saying what it was intended to say.
But they're saying it's proprietary, so you can't buy a
There you
scanner from somebody else, you have to buy it
Reverse
from
engineer.
them.
Well, and you can't reverse engineer.
Too bad.
Yeah, and we're all thinking like at a much too high level there. What if the requirement was simply that the barcode font must include the letter or number of the representation underneath the code?
Right.
Like I was
Yeah.
saying for the inventory
Yeah.
labels.
Right, but the font itself, and that's the only font that gets loaded in the machine. No other barcode font gets loaded, and it's just intrinsically tied. A is this code, and it's tied together.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm,
Yeah.
right.
Something like that alone would be enough
Yeah,
to
so like they put on other barcodes with a
Look at your standard.
alphanumeric code below the code,
Mhm.
Right.
which means
Yeah.
what the code means.
It's
Or
right.
use MICR
Right,
like
yeah.
that checks. Yeah. I mean, there's a bunch of different ways to do it.
Yeah,
There's
so right here,
Yeah.
right underneath it,
There was a reason you brought Robert's rules.
okay?
You can see.
Yep. But
Um,
if something as simple as that requirement doesn't require them to necessarily, even though you can now read it physically, it's still their own proprietary code.
Right. And that A might not be an A, it might actually be a Z.
And then
In
somebody
the
else.
end, you need to have the audit.
Yes.
Because
Oh,
no
right.
matter what sort of weirdness you try to program it, there's another guy who's gonna figure out how to unprogram your weirdness.
Right.
At the end, you gotta count them. If the counts match, then you're fine.
But
And if they're not,
every
then the
little-
company's out of business because they can't provide.
Give me enough
Every little
barcodes to scan, I'll
tweak.
figure out the
I
code.
wouldn't mind running that.
But every little tweak helps.
Right.
So if you do that with a barcode with the letters attached to it,
Joe and I were talking about this before the meeting, is
that helps.
I have done a lot of work for government, and the source inspectors that had to come out before any shipment was done, we were required to do things that these manufacturers of this equipment are not required, because they're calling it proprietary data and slamming the door closed.
Yeah.
We had to let those inspectors come in anytime they wanted. They could also have a independent inspector, third-party inspector, come in anytime they wanted, because that was the agreement with the government. And I
Right.
mean, granted, we were making things that held the rotor blades on a helicopter, Black Hawk helicopter, and
Mhm.
Cobra helicopter. So
Yeah, well,
it's not
that's where I'm coming from.
compared to
because-
this.
Because I worked for the government for 23 years.
So you know exactly what
I
we're
worked in
talking about.
aviation, yeah, I know.
Yes, yes,
I worked on those.
because we set the specifications and the vendor.
But
had
now,
to
we
meet
also have somebody that has worked it from the inside here, where I was saying the only reason we need these audits is because these people aren't playing by the same rules as all the rest of the government suppliers, and if we could get them to do that, then we wouldn't need these audits.
No.
But Joe's
you
making
still
up a
need
good
that.
point that even if we had that happen,
He's still
that doesn't mean that some third party isn't gonna come in and screw with our election results.
Right, it doesn't, those systems cannot account for outside interference. Somebody can,
As much as we can prove that ES and S is fixing the elections up there in North Dakota, or wherever the
Yeah.
hell the chair was
Yeah.
from,
Yeah.
who sold the,
Nebraska, I think.
was it was somewhere up north. I know.
Yeah.
Well,
He sells off he gives up being the CEO,
Right.
but didn't sell off his stock on the parent company and then ran for office and won an office that all the pre-election polls showed that he had no sway in hell of winning.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And it was his company's machinery that did the elections.
And let me remind you, I did not choose this software. But having said that, the problem, regardless of what it is, I mean, ultimately, if you do an audit, if you can prove the output, it doesn't really matter how you got there, right? Whether you had barcodes, you had
Right.
hand counts, or whatever you had, if the output is the way it should be, then the means of how you got there is far less important.
And that's why doing the sample audit to trigger a full audit
Right.
is the best way to
Yeah.
go.
Well, absolutely.
It's just the practicality of some of it.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Well, yeah, you
Approach
gotta
that way
work
to go.
out details.
Yeah.
But,
Well, like I said.
but my point is, let me verify this with Mike. Which is inherently more secure? A private code or open source?
Depends.
There's a very definite answer. I don't have any questions. Don't stick your neck out.
It all comes down to the people involved. I mean,
Yes.
really, when you're talking about security, because you can have this great system in place, and like I was saying, as far as trusting the statistics of the audit itself,
All right,
if I know
let's.
that this clerk isn't on top of his game, isn't going to do the audit correctly, that's what I'm going to target.
Well, the great advantage of open source is that it can be validated by anybody.
Yes, that is a great advantage of
Right.
open source.
Why don't
But
we
it can
hold,
also be tampered with by
By
anybody.
anybody.
Yeah.
Let's move this discussion to the public, so let's
Yeah,
have
yeah.
a motion to adjourn our
Seconded.
official meeting.
Motion to adjourn.
Okay.
Okay, because we got 20 minutes we can go
All
into.
those?
All right, all those in
Second.
favor of adjourning?
Yeah.
Opposed? No opposed? Okay. Real quick, you got that.
I'm getting there trying to get the state.
We're gonna go real fast through these.
No, we're not. We don't go fast through anything.
We can revisit this in next month's
We haven't even
meeting,
done
too.
roll call
I
yet.
mean,
The reason why I wanted to talk about this at our session here is because of the thing with the pride. I got this, all you guys do is election security and accuracy. How are you helping us out? What are you doing for the LGBT community?
Wait.
Oh,
If making
Verifying your
sure
vote.
the elections aren't secure and accurate, good enough for them, I sort of reminded them that we are not just, election integrity is not just the security and the accuracy. There's 8 parts to an election. Okay? Voter registration. At some point, we will be asking Joe for his procedure on purging the voter list.
there's some legislation that's in the throes.
Yeah.
So stay tuned for that.
So at some point, we are going to be watching that to make sure that certain targeted groups are not targeted, including the LGBT. So that's one of the things I had to explain to them, that
Number 2.
we're going to make it through that. The registration of political organizations and candidates. We'll get into that at some point when we have enough people. Making sure that it's fair for everybody to run for office. Me personally, I think that Joe being a Republican needing 700 signatures to get on the ballot, and me being a Democrat, I only need 500, but Mike being an independent needs 4 times what Joe needs.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
this is something
insane.
wrong.
Yeah.
That's not free and fair open
And we
election.
already know why that's there, so.
And Larry's gonna love the fact that you're gonna be able to collect signatures electronically.
What?
What?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Really?
I won't wear out my shoes
That's
anymore.
coming, yeah.
Elizabeth Lindquist is working on that over in Rockford. You can walk around with your iPad and it'll actually verify that this person is a registered voter at the same time. I like that part of it, so
Yeah.
the challenging part of the signatures
How
will
much
go
you
away.
how much are you gonna have to pay for that if you're not a member of one of the 2 major parties?
Well, I have one point on that very item. Having been there, getting signatures from I can attest that the signature you get on that electronic device, no matter how big it is never, ever going to match a signature you physically put on any piece of paper.
Right.
And you have clerks, and if you've been poll watching, that will look at signatures and say, it doesn't match. That's gonna slow things down tremendously if that starts to.
Hey, brother, I'm just
Amen.
bringing the news.
They haven't even brought it up, once they get it up to the
Bring it up.
stage.
It's gonna be, just
But
Friday, I
this
got
is
word
what
that
I'm
it's
trying to
gonna
get
be
at, is
Friday
there's
night.
other issues that, like the
Oh, yeah, yeah,
the vote by mail stuff we got involved with, okay? So, number 3 is the logistics, okay? Basically, that is how Joe sets up and prepares the polling locations and those, you know, what's he looking at, ADA compliance, parking, whatever, you know, how many registered voters per precinct are we putting in there, or per polling place are we putting in? That's the logistics. The actual vote casting, which would be the equipment and ballots and that kind of stuff. 5 is the counting. How are the counting, the audits being done? That's where we're pretty much right now. Electoral education, so how is he getting the word out of what the results are, where the polling places are, that kind of stuff, who the candidates are. I don't see that as number 6, I started to see that a little bit earlier in the process, but that's how ISO puts it as number 6. 7, oversight and campaign financing. At the local level, that would be making sure that this piece of paper that the candidate is handing out has the actual legal declarations it needs, or the signs have it, the yard sign, or their advertisements and radio stuff. The rest of that is handled at the state level as far as the reporting and that kind of stuff. We might get into the whole, how is the thing funded, public versus private funding. There's all that kind of stuff. Joe, the group we belong to at one point.
Represent us.
Us.
Yeah.
With the
That's
matching
right.
donor stuff, okay? We might get involved with that if we so deem that that's what we want to get involved with, and there's something that is brought up. And then the resolution of electoral disputes. One of the things that Dr. Chamberlain brought up is, in order for you to contest a race in Cook County, because they are their own electoral board, they made the rules that you have 3 days.
Yeah, what is it?
3 days.
3 days, yeah.
Okay, whereas, what do we get?
I think we get 7 or 10 or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay?
So you get
So,
up to pretty much up to certification date almost, right?
Well, it's not official until it's certified.
right.
Yeah.
So before there's even any results that are coming in, you have to contest it
In Chicago.
in Chicago.
Right.
And then the other thing too is, one of the reasons I wanted this group and why we want these audits and to do these counts if need be, to find out if the machine is, $150,000 for a candidate to pay for the recounts?
No. I mean, it depends on the rate. It's like, I'm shooting from the hip here, $5 or $10 a precinct.
Okay.
Yeah. But that's what the candidate pays. The cost to the county can be huge, because
Is that
you're
right?
going to have to rent a gymnasium, you know, and pay a bunch of election judges and all this other stuff. It can really be expensive to the county.
Yeah. And this is after the candidates have shot their wad and have no more money left because they've spent it all before the election to get elected.
Yeah.
Now you're gonna ask them to pay.
If you're running for state rep, that could be a lot. If you're
Yeah.
running for county board or whatever, it's probably not that bad, but
But it's still,
yeah, it's still expensive.
okay. So I just wanted to go over that. That's in our minutes or in our agenda, so you have it.
Still with us, Diane?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay.
Okay, status of our bills real quick.
I followed the conversation, I just,
Oh, yeah.
I didn't want to burst in.
Pretty much Madigan has killed our bills. The House bill has been under Rule 19A sent back to the Rules Committee, which is where bills go to die. Rule 3-9 for our state, for the Senate bill, went back to assignments. Again, that's pretty much where they go to die under that rule. The good news is all three of the, all three of the vote by mail pretty much went the same route. Rule 19A back to Rules Committee. So that takes care of the vote by mail bills this session.
But actually, can I just jump in? So 3615 is back on the table, unofficially, according to the lobbyist for the Illinois Association of County Clerks and Recorders. That one's gonna come back in an omnibus bill.
Oh, God.
So along with the potential for the State Board of Elections will be required to do a pilot program of collecting signatures electronically.
Okay.
So those
And let's
two
say
things.
that they designated McHenry County.
Yeah, right, yeah, like
Well,
everything
no,
else, right?
Well, that gets to section C here.
Larry, let's go back now. That's something that would benefit everybody, so it's not coming to McHenry County.
Okay, as of Wednesday, I looked all these up Wednesday when I made it.
Yeah, and this is Friday, and it hasn't changed status,
Okay.
but that's what we're being told.
They're gonna stick it under the omnibus. Okay, as far as the other local ones, I'm still working on trying to get the Activist Expo for the end of the summer together, like they held over there in D6, where they had the different groups and then they had the different seminars and stuff on being volunteers and stuff like that. We'll keep you up to date. Now that the election's over, we can have more time to spend on that. The state bills for McHenry County only. Joe and I had a little bit of talk on a couple of these. He's the one that gave me the heads up on 3596, which is basically the same thing as 3317, but added a little bit more as far as transitional audits, meaning Joe takes over a new department or gets elected to a new position, he can call for an audit. And they have to let him do it, kind of thing,
Yeah.
is what I understood it.
Yeah, and I can't,
That's
it seemed like there
basically
were
the only
other,
difference.
other minor tweaks, but yeah, it was generally the county board chair gets a lot of power and then audits.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I had a lot of Democrats get on my case for being against 3317 because this would be limiting Jack's power. What happens when
what's
Jack
wrong with that?
decides to retire
Right.
and we get somebody besides Jack, no
Who
matter
wants to
what
give all
side
the
of the...
authority to one person?
Right.
Yeah.
Give that
Representative,
power to
of
Jack
course.
anyway.
But
You know,
3317 enhances or limits his power?
No,
And
it
also
enhances.
Oh,
it
it's
gives him an executive power.
Okay, yeah,
Yeah,
so
so
he
he
can,
can-
right, it makes him basically county boss.
He
Makes
can
it- yeah.
veto,
County governor.
so county board,
See,
County president.
Yeah.
Yeah.
the county board goes ahead and votes on
Oh,
something
okay.
and approves
No,
something,
I'm
and
familiar
Jack
with-
doesn't
right.
like it, he can veto it.
No, I'm
and
familiar with the
nothing we can
legislation,
do.
I just forget what number it was,
Yeah.
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 But I wanted to be clear, we were talking about the same one.
He can get rid of the committees
But you were
and
saying
make up
you
his own.
said you got some flack for opposing it
Yeah,
because,
Because
I'm limiting Jack's ability to do his job.
some people want,
Now,
of those that
checks
want
and
to give
balances,
Jack more
that's what
power,
democracy is
there are
about.
those that want that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was all for shrinking down the
I'm
county
not
board
one
for
of
its
those.
outrageous, something like a
Yeah.
manageable one,
They
but
want that.
we
Anybody
don't
that
want to
wants
make it one
give
person.
the
No.
county board chair more power needs to have their head examined.
I would
To go from
say
24 to
that
18.
power.
Yeah, 24 to 18 to 1. No.
Yeah, right.
No, thanks.
No.
Both 3317 and 3596 are in the Rules Committee under Rule 19A, so...
Are any one of those going in an omnibus bill?
So I'm told that there will be one. I was told that there would be one, but now I'm also told that after 3317 turned into 3596, we did a mailing to about 1,000 county elected officials. And now there are a number of caucuses that are aware and unhappy about, one of them being the House Black Caucus is very unhappy with 3596. So
And I was basically,
less likely.
But that would apply to all county boards.
Yes, the 3596 took off the McHenry only
Yeah.
part, and
that was the other difference.
yeah, there were some minor things, but yeah.
Yeah.
But if it isn't this session, watch next session. There's a group called Transform Illinois that you should keep your eye on.
That's trying to give them power.
Yes.
Is that it?
Yeah. Well, yeah, maybe. I don't know.
Let me phrase that well.
Who's in it besides?
That was-
Franklin?
Who's putting this up?
There's Sam Yingling,
Oh, you mean
Jack
legislative.
Franks, Rep. McSweeney, County
Yeah.
Board Chair from DuPage, County Board Chair from Kane County.
Well, DuPage has a county executive.
Yeah, what are we gonna call him?
Yeah, I know, I mean, he's already got power.
And I think 3596, is that, no, 0348, dissolving the townships, that also, it had two other things in it, wasn't it about getting rid of
I
the,
forget what happened with that one.
the last time, it was referred to the assignments.
Okay, and what does that mean?
Basically, it went back to committee,
Okay. That
and there
means-
was no readings of it.
Okay.
on the
Unless
record.
somebody sticks it in an omnibus bill,
Yeah.
which happens. That's
Yeah.
how this crap
Basically, that would let you dissolve townships. It would
Right.
also let you put on a referendum, the highway commissioner getting his job taken away and the powers given to
Small-
the township
Small
board.
correction, small correction. We can dissolve the township right now.
Yeah.
This
Yes.
reduces the barrier to start that process.
Right.
Yes.
Right, and doesn't it make a township board of trustees able to put it
To
on
put
the?
put
Yeah.
it on the ballot.
Well,
Yeah.
well,
To get rid of the
they
highway
already
commission.
can do that.
Right, but this one lowers the threshold.
Yeah.
So like,
And
almost like,
my
if
personal
10 people say,
view-
let's do it.
And it assigns the duties of the township to the county, with the exception of like 3 things that the township does that the county wouldn't be doing. And it reduces the taxes
By 10%.
by 10%, so they have to do more and do less, and with less
less.
money.
Which, technically, okay, we have 39 road departments in this county. If you include the state, the county, and all the villages and cities. Having been on one of those village boards and waiting for that tax money to come down our way, it took us almost 3 years to be able to put $20,000 together and to do a patch job between the high school and the other. The trickle-down economics does not work.
You might as well have high schoolers do a car wash to fundraise for
Would
it.
have made the
Wait a minute, why didn't we do
Right
this
between the
before?
high school and the elementary, so.
I am all for
Maybe that's what all those,
dissolving
maybe
the
that's what all
road
those kids like
departments,
myself when I
putting
was in high school
together.
having Saturdays, and that's what
Look
they
at
come
how
out there.
they have what, state and county in Wisconsin. That's it.
Yeah,
That's it. And look how fast and how well they get that stuff
Well, you know
done.
what?
No, I mean, I oppose the McHenry
Guys.
bill because
Yeah.
they wouldn't do a cost benefit study.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Right, I have no problem with consolidating government entities.
But getting rid of the
Unless
highway
you- but
commissioner
first
and
doing
giving,
an analysis on what it's gonna cost and how you're gonna do it, and then proceed.
instead of just.
the
Otherwise,
second half of this
forget it.
bill,
yeah.
the second half of this bill saying that the township could put to a vote of the people to get rid of the highway commissioner, but still would be in charge of the roads. All you're doing is getting rid of an elected official, and now you're gonna have to put an appointed official in.
Right.
Or
Because
higher.
you're still in charge of the road.
Right,
So
and-
where
and-
are we saving any money?
And you're making all the decisions at the township board level, which people who have no idea what they're doing.
And
Well,
on
wait.
top of it, you
I
have
don't know.
this
You
person will
can
be.
say that for sure in some townships.
Okay, I'm talking about McHenry Township.
And again, this would be an appointed person,
Which
so
is
guess
actually
what?
opposite. 'cause
Those
then you
4
got guys that are
members of the
elected that don't
township
know what they're
board,
doing with it.
After they agree to
The
appoint
commissioner
so
does.
and so, they only answer to the supervisor.
Yeah.
All that the township board members get to do then is their budget and their raises.
Right.
They can't oversee them at all and tell them, hey, you need to do this or you need to get that done. That's all given out by the supervisor. It's the same way that it was in the village.
Yeah.
Once we appointed the cops, we were screwed.
Right, you're done. Right.
You know, we go ahead and we pass an ordinance on noise, right? Or the anti-colors ordinance we did right before it got out.
Mhm.
Okay? The village president turned around and told them, don't enforce it. There's nothing we could do. We passed ordinances.
Sheriff Prim only
That-
enforces what he wants, so.
Yeah.
And there was nothing we could do about it.
Mhm.
It's not
That's why,
any-
for all these years, I've been saying, appointments should only be to fill an elected position until the next election happens, and committees. Not for your cops, not for your road crews.
Yeah. Yeah, this doesn't solve any problems, I don't
Right.
think, really.
It's just gonna-
Real quick,
Fist
And
shaking.
then there's also a bill that would make it, I don't know if it's in one of these or not, they'll make it illegal for the, for any county or township or district official to, spend any money, any public money, expressing an opinion about any
About the township
legislation.
consolidation, that one's
Right.
gone. That one's been
Okay,
killed.
okay,
Yeah.
good.
okay. Real quick, last thing, because we're already past our time to be out of here, is the state annual meeting, May 8th, 7 PM. Right now, they are still looking for more people to run for office.
Put my name in, I don't want an office, but you can put my name, I'll attend the meetings. But
Okay.
I'm not gonna be committing to anything.
To one of the 4 officer positions.
Absolutely not.
You'd be like Mary Jo or Mike as a member of the board?
Right, so
All right.
we could have one more person to give input, but
Yeah,
My
because
wife
right now they
does
have
not know
the
I just said
exact
that.
number. They have 7 people.
but
3 of them are ours. Mary Jo stepped up, Diana stepped up, and myself. And I need to forward you to an email. We've been asked to put in a profile thingy. I don't know if you guys got it. Did Roy give that to you?
Not that I saw.
Okay, I got it like 2 days ago.
Oh, no, I didn't get you.
Profile, you mean like a resume kind of thing?
Yeah,
Unless,
right now, because of the 90-day membership thing in good standing, Eric cannot vote. He can attend, but he can't vote. He can't run for office. Both of the Levis cannot run for office or vote, and Missy can't run. Otherwise, out of 21, we have 17 that are eligible to run and vote
At the state.
at the state level.
can't do
Um, Anybody want to carpool or get that kind of thing going, let me know and we'll see what we can set up.
Oh, it's coming up.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, May
Is that
Do we have a location yet? I know.
Yes,
What day of the week is
Colonial
it?
Cafe in
It is
St.
a
Charles.
Wednesday
Wednesday night.
at Colonial Cafe in St. Charles.
It's in the minutes.
All right.
Okay. Even if you don't want to run, we could use the votes, and considering that we are now 21 strong out of the 38 members statewide, I think we need to be duly represented.
Yeah, you're like 3/4 or 4/5 of the population.
I think it's 38 or 34.
Oh, I think it's at 28.
No, 34. No, I'm wrong, 34.
Yeah,
I
well,
remember,
but
Joe,
the other ones
when
are
I
in
first met
Kane.
with them in December,
Yeah.
they had 6 members, period.
Right.
In 3 months, we got 21 members,
Yeah.
all paying members.
That's funny.
And we're 50-50 on which side of the aisle.
Ah,
They're half Republican, half Democratic.
Right where we need to be.
Right.
Right.
That's good. I mean, that's what we need. We need
That's
that
exactly what you need.
full.
I would like to mention one other thing. I don't know if people are up to speed on this, but last night, the FBI reported that they could verify that one at least one county in Florida had been hacked in 2016, and they aren't divulging any further information.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
It sounds like, to me, it sounds like that they did it just to tweak our nose and say, hey, look what we can do.
Yeah.
We're killing the integrity of your election process, and that's kind of what I was trying to get at that.
But if it was, say, Broward County, and there were only 100,000 votes separating Hillary and Trump, that could have been enough. You know, they could have done 5% of the population, that would have been enough to change the
Yeah.